you've been asked to look at how those sections in the script can come to life, the non-verbal sections, and in particular there's three that stand out. One is the trampling of the child, which is the first incident involving Edward Hyde. The second is the murder of the MP Carew, and the third section we've asked you to look at is the actual transformation of Hyde into Jekyll and vice versa. Tell me a bit about how you start to think about physicalizing those sections.
Well, I guess it could depend on kind of the source material. Luckily, the novella in this instance has so much detail and so much description of how these atrocities take place. So it was quite simple to kind of see what the characters thought of what happened, and then try to find ways and how we could bring that to life. Whether that was, just straight up physically do what is described, or another way we could tell that story with use of movement and also with sound and the text. What
in those, say, the incident of the young girl being trampled, what was your starting point? What part of that incident? So how, it's very vivid in the book, and the description is extremely vivid. How do you go about making that as vivid in 3D?
It's looking at Hyde as a character, because we don't know how deliberate was the trampling. We know he was like some damn juggernaut. So it's figuring out or asking the question of, did he not notice this girl? And it's kind of like when a horse tramples on something because it was already on a journey. Or was this deliberate? Did this character knock the girl down, then actively decide to trample? And the action of trampling is quite tough to bring to life, because people you don't generally trample. The description of something being trampled is very specific. So it was up to kind of sharing those ideas with the actors, making those movements and what they thought, and to see what works. So it's very much a trial and error to see what shoe fits.
And what's the biggest challenge, do you think, in that? It's very clear what the incidents, what happened in those incidents.
Yeah.
Well, what are you finding the biggest challenge into bringing these to life?
Is to kind of renew the shock value. To hear that girl's been trampled, you can hear about it, but for an audience to see that for the first time, and to make that believable, you want to make sure that the moves you're not playing around. It's got to be hard, it's gritty. To trample on a young girl, to make that believable, you want to obviously ensure the actors are safe, whatever the moves are, but to try and reintroduce the not just with the trampling, but with the murder of Sir Danvers Carew, who is of an elderly gentleman.
And the use of music in these scenes, we have a bare stage, and we may have lighting, but music is a big factor. How do you use music, or how do you think you might use music in these scenes?
Box Clever has always kind of been great at fusing sound with the actions, because as you said, the stage won't be cluttered. It will just be the action, and I think the music, the soundscape that the guys have made will help tremendously, setting the right tone, and it will inform the action before it even happens. And the use of sound is incredible, because you could probably stand there, hear specific sounds like the crunching of the bones, or the guts spewing out, things like that, and you'd feel it, you'd know what's happening. So they work hand in hand, and if they, the closer they feel like they're working together, I think the more effective it will ultimately be.